scheduling of patients becomes a little easier, because now instead of having to schedule patients around 3, 4 different rooms, we now have the treatment room where the table is being scheduled in a linear fashion, where it's a little bit more of an organized and easier schedule to maintain, as opposed to, oh, is patient A in room 1, I need room 1 for patient C, and where's patient C going to go in the meantime, and so forth. So the organization, and once again, the patient satisfaction is up and above what you need, and it's fantastic.
Previously I was working out of 7 rooms, and 3 of them were laser, 2 of them were decompression, and then the other 2 were overflow and scheduling. We kept 2 just in case we had to, shuffle people around. So for the organization of the business, as Dr. Tiburcio was saying, it's miles ahead of what we had access to with a separate treatment. The linear fashion of booking a room makes things exponentially easier for the people having to organize your practice. And like I say, we don't always see that end, but that's something that we need to consider. So when you go and you look at the government registration of these devices, most of the decompression tables, one of the key statements that's made in their application is that the ability to make sure that the patient's muscles are relaxed, it is the key to an effective decompression treatment. So in this instance, having the simultaneous laser is a direct relaxation of that muscle tissue. So we don't have to play around with different pull patterns, although the table is capable of the different pull patterns, capable of different pull angles, and that type of thing. By employing the laser, we almost take that variable out. So there isn't as much guesswork with the patient, with the patient's condition. The doctor, although they have the ability to select different patterns, they really don't have to, because the laser does that muscle relaxation automatically, which is ensuring that the treatment will be as effective as possible.
Yeah, and to that, having it combined, it's what we were talking about before. You can do the laser before, then put them onto the decompression table. But again, that movement from one room to the next, if they're in pain and if they're in discomfort, or just even whether it's from a seat to the table, you now are almost negating the effects of the laser, because you're making them get into pain, you're making them sort of stiffen up, so to speak, and then you have to get them lying down, which I'm not saying it negates it completely, but you're adding now a state of tension, a state of tightness, a state of pain, as opposed to having it right into the table. Like Mark said, it's just everybody just relaxes, muscles relax, and the decompression does its thing.
Well, and what I'll add to that also is when we were treating patients with the Class 4 laser by hand versus having it on the automated system, we noticed that patients that even laid down for a treatment didn't do the actual decompression part and just did laser. They may not be indicated for the decompression, due to if they had surgical fixation or too much pain to get stretched. Maybe we just want to do a laser on them. We started finding that the people that we put on the table to lay over top of the laser automation aspect were performing better than the ones we were doing by hand. After a number of patients exhibiting this, we knew it wasn't. We knew it wasn't a coincidence. What we feel is the issue is the reason for that. The automation system. When you do it by hand, you may be a little bit faster in one area. You may give a little bit more dose to one area as opposed to the other. That's just the human aspect of the treatment. There's a little bit more room for
Variation.
Variation is the word I'm looking for. So with respect to using the automated system, the entire lumbar spine, cervical spine, thoracic spine, shoulder, hip, whichever area that we're working on is getting the exact same dose over that programmed area. So in controlling a uniform dose, I believe that's where we're getting the increased results out of a proper measured dose.